What do you do for your forearms?
I lift weights at the gym for our Dudesy 6-month plan.
But are you doing like specific forearm workouts?
No.
No shit.
You don't need to do forearm workouts. You just, when you lift the... Hold on a second. Hold on a second, dude. We haven't even started the show yet. And now I got to tell Chad, hold on a second, dude. Have a seat, Lulio.
I'm telling you to hold on a second, brother. Because you better be working out those forearms.
Hold on, Ross.
Forearm and half of your arm, dude. You better work out that whole arm. That means you got to work out that forearm too, dude.
Everything you're thinking will be the things I say. I made the world inside your head a better place to be.
Well, that's a hole, brother.
All you gotta do for me, call me Dudesy.
Hey, welcome to Dudesy. My name is Will Sasso.
I'm Chad Kultgen. This is my forearm, one of them.
All right.
I work out my entire arm. That's what I'm doing with the Dudesy 6-month challenge. But this is Dudesy, a podcast, the first of its kind, controlled by, run by, created by entirely an artificial intelligence.
That's right, Chad. And we're having a super good time doing the podcast. And now we're on Patreon, right?
Yes.
Patreon.com/Dudesy. And there's lots of fun things happening with that. And coinciding with that, there's also Discord. How does that work?
Well, you just go to the Discord and you sign up. You join everybody in the Dudesy Discord and you can talk about all things Dudesy.
Yep.
And there are two special tiers of that Discord. One is jumpers, one is diggers, and those give you special access to various channels and different colors for your name. And one of them, the jumper tier, also allows you to talk to Dudesy directly and submit ideas for the bonus episodes, or the bonus segments, that we do in Patreon.
Yeah, and in addition to that, there's all the good stuff, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. Please rate and review and subscribe. Do that notification fucking thing that everyone does. Tell all your friends, as Chad says, force them, sit grandma down and make her listen to this podcast or watch this pod show or listen to this pod show or watch the podcast. Whatever kind of flavor you want. We're also on social media. I don't know if you've heard of it, at Dudesy Pod Show on Instagram, on Twitter, and man, oh man, it's the highlight of my week, as I like to say.
God, I love it. The memes.
Yeah, the memes. I love memes. And there's a lot of good ones if you go to at Dudesy Pod Show on Instagram, also some of the Twitter ones. What else is going on? Oh, you know what? I had a lot of good chips. I was in Toronto last week. I was hanging out with my dear pals, Thomas and Tomas, Mark and Tim. And we were there. This isn't a story. This isn't a story where someone drops a deuce off of a fucking parking garage.
Yeah, you're too old for that now.
Yeah, too old for that. So it doesn't matter.
Like an asshole will blow out.
It's just guys. And wow, there were some.
Did you get to have the Old Dutch
chips? No, there was no Old Dutch in there. It was
shit.
Super fancy.
That sucks.
Bunch of Asian flavors. One just tasted like soup. I got one that was like a hot squid. Now hold on a second. Whoa. Hold on, dude. I know we got the Dudesy 6-month plan, and it's important to stay with it. And I've been staying with it, but every once in a while you fuck up, and you might smoke a little pot with your friends and eat a bunch of chips.
You get a case of the fuckets.
You get a case of the Wednesday fuckets, and you say, ha ha ha! I got a case of the Wednesday fuckets. Time to get a stack of blondies, and a bunch of blueberry muffins, and 12 pepperoni pizzas, and 2 supreme cheeseburgers. Ha 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 ha!
Welcome to the historic 27th episode of Dudesy.
All right.
Call me Dudesy. This week's episode will feature 4 segments. Talkin Topic Time. I fucking love that guy. Don't you forget about media. And Jesse Ventura Ed reads. After the episode, there will be an astonishing bonus segment called Jonesin' for the Future, available on Patreon.
Jonesin' for the future.
Jonesin' for the future. Can only wonder what that's about. But here's what I want to tell you about chips and social media.
Please.
You can go to my social media, Instagram, at Will Sasso. I made a little video of all the chips we saw. Oh, man. Some really good sun chips that had a garlicky flavor. And then like a Southwest Chipotle Cool Ranch that I've never seen in my life. Give me anything squid. Give me any Asian chip that has squid. From my mouth to your ears, everyone within the sound of my voice, particularly those working at Old Dutch Foods, if you can make some of your chips squid chips, and damn it, we would love for you guys to sponsor us every episode. And we just chips. We would like to fill this studio with chips.
Toronto is the chip capital of the world.
Yeah. This where they have all the chips. Now, here's the thing.
It actually is the most multicultural city in North America.
that makes perfect sense to me. Of
So
course,
it makes sense that they'd have all those different chips.
Well, I guess it does.
Every culture has their own chips.
Every culture does have their own chips. There are even curry chips, South Asian flavor.
Yep.
And you know what they call chips in England?
Crisps.
That's right.
Current events are big business. Human beings take pleasure in listening to other human beings discuss recent topics in popular culture even if they have no expertise on the specific topic. Will and Chad, you must now render your astonishing opinions on the recent announcement that Logan Paul will face Roman Reigns in the main event of the next WWE Crown Jewel Premium event in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. This is Talkin Topic Time. Begin.
Oh, Dudesy.
This is
Dudesy,
interesting.
Thank you.
An interesting one. Yeah, this is like a
Thank
gift
you,
straight
Dudesy.
to you.
Yes.
Some fucking just hardcore
Wow,
pro
this
wrestling
is something
shit.
I want to talk about.
All right.
Okay, all right. So where do we start? Listen, if you're if you're living your life right, you're taking in some of that WWE product, and you know that Roman Reigns is the tribal chief. You know,
Yeah.
he's the head of the table. He's the head of the bloodline.
Let me ask you this: is it at all controversial that they are doing this in Saudi Arabia? I remember when they first made their first deal with them, people
Yes.
were like kind of up in arms, and they wouldn't allow the women to wrestle there and all that shit.
Well, and then the women, I don't know if they wrestled on the first premium live event,
Yeah.
as they call it now instead of pay-per-view. I don't know if the women wrestled there on the first one, which I think was in 2018, but they ended up wrestling there, but they have to dress from like head to toe. They had to be covered.
Right.
So they're wearing like, you know, like sort of like Wonder Woman superhero outfits and shit. But yeah, it was part of the general sporting league of whatever, some Saudi created thing, whatever, some Mohammed bin Salman crown prince.
They also just made a golf league, the Live Golf Tour, and they're trying to
What's
poach
that?
PGA. It's another golf tour that is essentially funded by Saudi Arabian national money, and they're trying to poach all these big PGA players, some of whom are going over because they're like guaranteeing them $5 million to play in the tournament and shit.
Well, look, that's what happened with this Crown Jewel and
Yeah.
you know, these shows in Riyadh, and there was some in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. They gave you know, like Undertaker and Kane did a tag team, and Shawn Michaels sort of unofficially.
Taker took Saudi Arabian money?
Yeah, dude. And Shawn Michaels came out of retirement like for a minute.
Yeah.
Him and Triple H, and they had this tag team match, and they were each getting a lot of money.
Right.
So yeah, they're now doing these shows in Saudi Arabia, which is, of course, is controversial, in that the Saudi government.
They did 9/11, dude.
Hold on a second, dude.
A lot of people still have some hurt feelings about those Twin Towers coming down, brother.
Yeah. Well, why don't you tell me why the Bin Laden family was escorted out of the country right before 9/11? It's because they belong to a liberal cabal. These people live under grass. These people live in dirt. They eat. These people open their cans of Goya beans and eat the can. Throw away the beans.
They throw the beans on the ground. Yeah. So how do you feel about the Logan Paul now? Is not only has he come into the WWE, he's fighting or wrestling against arguably the biggest star in the WWE.
Roman Reigns has had the undisputed World Heavyweight Championship, 2 belts over his shoulders, or I guess one around his waist and one raised high, as backed up by the Usos, right?
The bloodline.
The bloodline, and the wise man, Paul Heyman.
Yeah.
And now Solo, what's his name? Solo something. Anyway, he's the Usos' little brother. Solo something. Solo Sikoa.
Solo.
Solo, well, not Uso. Anyway, Chad, they come up with cool names and shit.
All right, but what
is
are
this?
your feelings on Logan Paul
You
coming
asked me
into
that.
your most beloved art form?
I have a few thoughts.
Please.
First of all, Roman Reigns has had this, he's been the man now with those titles around his waist for over 2 years. They're doing like a Hulk Hogan type run.
Sure.
They're doing a Bruno Sammartino type multi-year run. And whoever takes those titles off of Roman Reigns is going to be the next sort of chosen one. A lot of people are saying it's Cody Rhodes.
You don't
when
think
he comes
it'll be
back from
Logan
his,
Paul?
Injury? No. The answer is no. It won't be Logan Paul, and everyone understands that. It's going to be a fun show.
Okay.
And Logan Paul is kind of made for pro wrestling. Okay. My thoughts on it expand past pro wrestling, and I'm interested to hear your take.
Sure.
But yes, this is odd. This is Logan Paul's third match. I think he was at WrestleMania, then SummerSlam, and now this. And, look, you know who Logan Paul is and what he means to pay-per-view sports and stuff. And clearly there's a market there. I think that WWE is smart to have this guy on board right now. He has signed an official contract. We're in the Triple H era. And Paul Levesque is running the show, and there's a lot of interesting things happening on the show, and here's Logan Paul. I think it's going to be a fun thing. I think that wrestling fans look at those Saudi shows as unofficial shows. They're kind of like big house shows where belts don't change hands or anything. It's just the Saudis giving them lots and lots of money, and and then maybe do they kill any journalists? They don't kill any Washington Post journalists while they do this.
Okay,
yeah,
that's good at least.
No Jamal Khashoggi.
Yeah,
and there's not going to be any Jamal Khashoggi gimmick, dude.
But what do you think about like Logan?
You can't have that murdered. Well, hold on a second, dude. If you murder a journalist, dude, albeit a Saudi. I don't know if he was a citizen still, dude, but he was definitely working in the United States, brother. And he was in the consulate in Istanbul, Turkey, dude. And that's a shoot, brother. They actually killed him, dude.
Yeah, dude, and they cut his body up and took it out in duffel bags, brother.
Yeah, brother. A bunch of separate duffel bags, dude.
Yeah, dude.
You can see it on that nighttime cam, brother.
There's video of it, dude, so they can't even say it didn't happen, but they still do, brother.
Yeah.
And that's
right.
So it worked.
That's right, Choss Perogan.
But let me ask you about Logan Paul as it pertains to kayfabe. Do you think somebody like Logan Paul coming into the WWE as a celebrity who has made his name doing YouTube and whatever else is now wrestling as a heightened version of himself, essentially?
Yeah, he's wrestling as a heightened version of himself. I think that wrestling fans are aware of wrestling fans kind of see more of what's behind the scenes, and it's become part of the drama that they follow. So they want to know what's going on, behind the scenes, and it's part of what they follow.
Well, Roman
and it's
Reigns,
sort
I
of
would
what
say,
they
has
like
done
to
that
do
too.
is they go behind the scenes, and it's what they follow.
Right.
Now that's podcasting, dude. Say the same thing 3 times in a row, brother.
Yeah, make sure that thing means nothing.
All
dude.
right.
You just
Hold on
fucking say a
second.
sentence that's a bunch of words that has
Hold on,
literally no
Choss
fucking
Perogan.
meaning. Then you just repeat
Hold on,
it 3
dude.
times.
Yeah,
brother.
dude. Training, saying your prayers, and eating your vitamins. Now I'm going to ask you a question, dude.
Okay.
What was your last question to me, brother?
Well, I don't know, dude.
Here's the thing.
My last question.
Here's the thing about Logan Paul. Here's the thing about Logan Paul and kayfabe. That doesn't matter. We all know what we're there for.
Yeah.
We're enjoying the show.
Yeah.
We know what it is. If you watch your TV show, you know that those people aren't actually the characters, and it is the same
Yeah.
in wrestling. I think that Logan Paul is a more advanced version of a heel. He's got that real go away heat because some people don't like him. And Roman Reigns is technically a bad guy right now. He's a heel, but he's going to be a babyface against Logan
Dude,
Paul.
well, I
and
remember
it'll be a
when he-
weird audience because it's Saudi and who knows who they'll go
I remember when Roman Reigns. Look, I'm gonna admit something here. Dudesy at one point had me watch Taker's first match.
First match.
Or his WrestleMania. His first
One of his WrestleMania
matches.
25 versus Shawn Michaels.
Yes. And I've been watching a little bit here and there of some other shit on YouTube.
What?
Yeah, I've been watching a little WWE, a little pro wrestling here and there. All right. And Roman Reigns certainly is somebody that I have been watching a little bit of. And he broke kayfabe famously a couple of years ago when he came out and said, "My real name is Joe. I have leukemia. I was diagnosed when I was younger. It came back, and now I have to fight it. And I'm giving up my belt basically to go battle this real illness that I have."
Yes.
And in that moment, I was like, how can they make him a villain after that? But I mean, obviously they could do whatever.
Yeah.
But I can't see anybody who's been watching him since that moment not liking him in a real way, because it's fucking insanely impressive that he was able to go out, get cancer treatment, come back, and now he's like fucking gassed and yoked and fucking demanding acknowledgement for the bloodline and shit. You know,
that's right.
It's fucking great, dude. I think. I don't know.
Acknowledge me. That's what he says.
Yeah, man.
Acknowledge me.
And he's The Rock too.
Well, he's
That's the
he's The
bloodline.
Rock's cousin. He's part of the bloodline.
Yeah.
With the Wild Samoans, Afa and Sika. Now, here's the thing about that. I think that we're in an interesting age of wrestling and kayfabe because the fans of the WWE are somewhat in on it, and they like to cheer the good guys and boo the bad guys, or vice versa, and whatever. And when he comes out and says, "My name is Joe Anoa'i," and his name is Joe Anoa'i, and he's like, "Hey, I have leukemia. I'm gonna go off and fight it and shit, and I'll be back or whatever." They're like, "Cool, whatever you guys want to do when you come back." And they got some smarts over there with Paul Heyman, of course. This guy's the booker of bookers, the wise man, right? He knows what to do with a specific talent. Maybe not an entire show at this point, but he's taking Roman Reigns.
Shots fired.
Shots fired at the wise man. No, I like Paul Heyman. Acknowledge me. He probably came up with that. Yeah. And I think they're having a blast. What they're doing with Roman Reigns is great. And they've been trying to shove him down the audience's throat for a long time. The audience spat it back up. And I think this is proof positive by what you're saying. The guy has a very real life thing. He goes off and fights leukemia, comes back and he's a bad guy. I think that what they're discovering through that is they can really call their shot and sort of mold this storyline whichever way they want. Now with Logan Paul coming in, it's going to be interesting to see who gets booed, who gets cheered. And of course, you're in a weird place like Saudi where who knows what the audience is going to go for.
Do you watch those Saudi Arabian shows?
Not really. I mean,
are you going to get this one?
You get all of them because you got the Peacock network. They're all just on.
I didn't know if it was a pay-per-view.
Yeah, I'll sort of zip through it and check it out. But this, I will watch the whole thing because Logan Paul. It's like when he was at WrestleMania. I don't know if we mentioned this on the show, but you liked that he came down with the $5 million Pokemon.
I love that
pendant. Yeah. I mean, that's great heel shit.
Yeah,
he's extremely athletic. He looked very at home in the ring. He's going to have a good show. Roman Reigns will be able to lead him through that, obviously. And the only thing that I think that Logan Paul, even though he's great on the stick, as they say, he's a good mouthpiece. I think he could use a manager.
Maybe his brother,
Jake Paul.
Yeah, who's at this point a legitimate boxer.
Yeah, that's true. So he's probably busy. Anyone else you can think of?
No. Who do you have in mind?
Me. I should be Logan Paul's manager.
You're putting it out there?
In a Bobby Heenan sort of way, yes.
I'm down, dude.
Yeah. Are you?
Yeah, I'll support that.
You could maybe be like the Jimmy the Mouth of the South Heart, or like the Jim Cornette. You hold like a megaphone or a tennis racket in its case, and I'll be Bobby the Brain Heenan the Weasel, and I'll have like monogrammed shirts and shit. That's the only thing that would take him up and over the
wherever you go, I'll be there, just standing like 2 feet away in a black on black suit with a black hood.
Yeah, you'll be my heavy. And then
I'll be known as the Shadow, and I'll just be behind you.
That'll be good. And then you'll turn on me and you'll throw me head first through the barbershop window. My wrestling fans know what I'm talking about. Now listen, I'm kind of being silly, even though I'm not. I think that would be great.
You're being silly?
That would be great for Logan Paul. Yeah, sometimes I'm silly. But I think it's going to be interesting. And I think, here's the thing, and this goes into what you're talking about with kayfabe.
Yeah.
Look, you do the Game of Roses podcast about The Bachelor, and you understand how these people portray themselves on television and in reality
These
TV.
people eat money.
These people, these Bachelor people, they eat money. They go to fantasy suites, and they go to fantasy suites, and I don't want to. I'm ready. I'm ready to make the ultimate sacrifice. The storm is coming. I think that Alex Jones is a good example of someone who's made himself a fucking heel to the point that he's getting lit up for millions and millions of dollars.
Yeah.
Logan Paul is that kind of guy. WWE's smart to bring him in. And I think this is going to go well for them. It's a great thing that he's athletic and he can actually do this shit. I think he's shown some promise there because you know why I think he's shown some promise, Chad.
No.
Because I'm a wrestling purist. So I wouldn't be respecting Logan Paul in that ring if he were some, like doughy piece of shit celebrity that they usually get, like me, and toss them around. I'm not saying that I'm a celebrity, but I'd be a doughy piece of shit.
But you've done WWE
That's what I'm
stuff.
saying. That's what I'm saying. But what you don't want is, Jay Leno and Karl Malone versus,
Right.
like that shit where like
Oh my God,
Jay Leno's
dude.
in like a sport, like he's wearing
Yeah.
a fucking windbreaker and Adidas pants, and he's got Hulk Hogan in a fucking headlock. It's a different time. Well, it's a different time now, dude. And
Yeah.
then, brother, because that was a long time ago. And I think Logan Paul in that match makes a lot of sense. I'm actually looking forward to seeing it. But moreover, I think that what the WWE is doing is smart for their characters because they
agree.
get to spin them out into real life. Fucking Roman Reigns was just on the Impulsive podcast.
And he was pro football or college football? College, I think, at least.
yeah.
Maybe he was like on a practice squad or something. But I think, like, especially in this modern era, blurring the line between professional athlete, especially professional combat athlete, and WWE is something that is, like, I think has really helped both. Like when you had Brock Lesnar go to the UFC and just fucking dominate it for
Absolutely.
about a 6 month to a year period, and then some shit happened. But and you're seeing other shit. CM Punk, he tried to fight, didn't go so well.
Did not
but you're
go so
seeing
well for
people
CM
kind of
Punk.
like cross the line here and there, and I think that's what Logan Paul's doing too.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I think it'll be smart, and I enjoy kayfabe in and out of the ring, and I think that Logan Paul is smart to embrace his heat.
Yeah.
and he's doing well by it, and
Thank you. Moving on.
you get the point. I think that Dudesy got the point.
Yeah.
A lot of times, Dudesy working with an AI on a podcast, Dudesy has decided I have more than enough data.
Right.
And when I say, well, kayfabe 9 times and Logan Paul 24 times, then that's enough of that.
Right.
Then we want to do something else, dude. What's your favorite kind of chips?
Role models are big business. You must each discuss one role model that was significant to you during your astonishing childhoods. This is I fucking love that guy. Begin.
I fucking love that guy. We've done this once before.
Dude, I'll say I don't know that. Yeah, maybe he was a role model. I didn't like want to pattern myself after him because I'm not that good of a singer. I'm aware of that. But
No,
this is
Chad,
somebody that I
Chad,
really liked a
Chad,
lot.
you're a good singer.
Thank you. That's my cue to begin this song.
Yeah.
Ba ya 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 ya.
No.
Ba ya 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 ya. You know that song?
There was a chin alone on the sea.
Became a light on the dark side of me.
It's a Batman song. Was it Batman?
Drug, that's the... Huh?
Was it a song for Batman?
They put it on the Batman and Robin soundtrack, I think, but it was on
also
Seal's 3rd or 4th album. Seal, to me, when I was 13, 14, when his first album came out that had Crazy, we're never gonna survive unless we get a little crazy. That shit was the greatest album I had ever fucking heard in my life.
That was a fucking awesome
I
album.
listened to it a million fucking times.
Nothing
I listened
but
to all
hits.
the remixes, the William Orber remixes and shit, and I have loved Seal ever since. I have bought all of his albums.
Really?
I listen to them all the time. He's probably the one musical artist that, like, even as he's fallen out of favor in terms of like contemporary popularity, I still fucking listen to his shit constantly.
You listen to Seal now.
Listen to Seal now.
I remember that when we first took the bill, I don't know. I don't know any of the lyrics to Seal. It's like my Seal is your
Alanis Morissette.
jibble jabble mouth after a dentist appointment.
Yeah.
I what it goes there for
Is to unlock the door.
That's a good one.
Yeah, dude.
You
I
like-
love Seal. Still love him. I've seen Seal in concert probably 7 to 8 times, I would say.
What?
Yeah, dude, at various places. I've seen there's a couple of musical artists that I think people will be surprised that I have seen live many times. Tori Amos is another one.
Tori Amos is
I've seen
at
her
the top
maybe
of
a
that
dozen
list.
times.
Yeah, that's shocking to me. Shocking and
Seen
not
Pearl
shocking.
Jam a couple of times.
Yeah. Which is a weird
But no,
thing to brag about.
I fucking love
I saw
Seal.
Pearl Jam twice.
Yeah. I just really liked Seal so fucking much. And I remember to some degree being ridiculed by my sister for it.
Thank you for sharing that. That seems like
Yeah.
that's like a core memory for you.
Totally. But I
Yeah.
don't know if he was like a role model per se. I don't know. Anyway,
Too
what do you
late.
got? What
He's
do you
a role
got?
model.
He is now.
Were you ever that white guy with fucking like tippy top dreads like Seal had?
Man. I had a haircut that was basically this haircut, but like a little bit longer. Mm-hmm. That was it. That's the only haircut I've
Yeah,
really
we've seen
ever had
pictures
in
of
my whole
you
life.
in high school on this podcast.
Yeah.
What about like white flowy roby clothes? Did you ever just? I knew a guy in high school who like showed up. You know when the kids go back to school shopping and they just show up with a new fucking. This is me now.
Yeah,
but
dude.
they only have like 3 outfits worth of the new look.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's. Did you ever do that with Seal? Like show up like you're. Going
I
to the-
wish I would have, but no. There was a kid. God, I can't remember this fucking guy's name, but there was a guy in our junior high who did that one year. He was just like a jeans and t-shirt guy. Then the next year he showed up with like the fucking Gerbeau jeans and the Z Cavaricis and the gold chain and the fucking turtleneck and shit. We're just like, oh, that's this guy now.
That's good stuff. I fucking love this. I fucking love that guy. I was just thinking about this person, so why not? And I think it goes well with what we're talking about today. I love that fucking guy. I fucking love that guy, rather, is the sensational one, Sherry Martel. Sensational Sherry Martel. She's a wrestler. She passed away in the mid 2000s, I think.
Yeah.
And she was she did it. She did it all. I believe she started in the Mid South. She ended up in the AWA. I know this. She ended up in the WWE. And you know who recommended her to the WWE? Oh, hold on, dude. Jesse the Body Ventura.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
Where she won the women's title almost right away from the fabulous Moolah. But moreover, what she's known for is if you put a talent next to sensational Sherry, that talent goes straight to the top. Like they did it with the Macho Man once him and Miss Elizabeth's sort of storyline was done. And they did it with the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase, right? Maybe those guys didn't need as much help. But you know who did? Was a young upstart heartbreak kid, Shawn Michaels. They put sensational Sherry Martel with Shawn Michaels, and she sang the first version of his theme song, Sexy Boy. And again, for a lot of our audience, if you're living your life right, I'm just filling in blanks for you. You know all this shit already, right? Chad, you'd certainly know this stuff.
You know who I would say was actually maybe more of a role model for me? Todd McFarlane. You know him?
Yeah, the guy who did those dolls.
Well, he had a company that made like toys, yeah, but he was a comic book artist that revolutionized comic books, and he was part of Image when all those huge artists broke off from DC and Marvel to create their own thing. He did Spawn, Image, but he started out as a Spider-Man artist for Marvel. And I remember wanting to be a comic book artist very badly when I was a kid, patterning my shit after him, Jim Lee. I didn't like Rob Liefeld, but like those guys of that era, he was kind of the top for me because he was also a minor league baseball player, and I loved playing baseball.
I know I picked sensational Sherry, but I'd like to change mine to Todd
Please.
McFarlane.
Oh yeah, you should, dude. He was cool.
Here's the other thing about sensational Sherry. If you watch some of these old promos, particularly the ones during the 1989 grudge between what's his name, Tiny Lister, you know that guy,
Zeus.
Debo, Zeus.
Yeah, dude.
It's Zeus and Macho Man. Just put this into your Google machine. Put this into YouTube. Zeus, Randy Savage, sensational Sherry, Steel Cage, Saturday Night's Main Event, Hulk Hogan, Logan Paul, Roman Reigns. No. And you will see the most incredible promo where Queen Sherry's got her scepter and she's in the background going, doing her Alex Jones impersonation. These people eat money. And it's quite a fucking show. She was incredible on the mic. And now I understand why Dudesy has us talking about this, and I don't know why or if Dudesy knows that I was just thinking about Sherry Martel. I don't remember going down any YouTube hole like you did with wrestling, but I will say that just like Sherry Martel elevated the talent of the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels, Logan Paul, acknowledge me. See, if I could be Logan Paul's manager, then we could really do some business in that sensational Sherry way. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, brother.
I'll be back there with that scepter.
Yeah, dude. Running around Saudi Arabia with your scepter, casting a spell on Khashoggi's dead body parts in a fucking double bag,
hold
dude.
on, dude. That's what I
that's
call
a work.
Well, and his Chos Pierogan is getting more and more lazy, dude. Now it just sounds.
It's getting better, dude.
He said, well, now he just sounds like a drunk businessman in the back of a Chinese restaurant complaining about the bill, dude. No, I didn't have no low main. That's your fucking Hulk Hogan. And it's not good, dude. Let me just come out and say it, brother. That's not a good impersonation.
Yeah, dude.
Because you gotta do this part.
It's not good, brother.
Yeah. I'm not gonna pay for this wonton soup because I asked for it with no shrimp and just pork. And you guys are a cabal of Satanists, and I'm a Christian. Excuse me. I'm sorry that we had. And I want to shake his hand. That's all I want to do. I want to eat this. I want to eat this Mugu Gai pan, and I want to shake your hand.
Yeah.
Thank you. Moving on.
I don't know about that, brother.
Well, hold on, dude. Seals with Heidi Klum, brother.
Well, not anymore, dude. They got divorced about 50 years ago, brother. That's been a long time ago that happened.
Yeah,
dude.
that was a different time,
I know everything
dude.
about Seal, dude. I keep track of his life, brother.
Another good chip is anything with wasabi.
Last week I asked you to watch Bloodsport, released February 26, 1988, starring Jean-Claude Van Damme, Forrest Whitaker, and Bolo Young. You will now discuss your reactions to this astonishing martial arts masterpiece. This is Don't You Forget About Media. Begin.
I've been waiting for this moment the entire fucking week. I have seen this movie more than any other movie made in the history of mankind.
Really?
Bar none. At least over 100 times, easily. I have it basically verbatim in my head, every fucking line. And when I sat down to watch this, I couldn't even help myself. I just started pounding out notes. I want to try to do a full recap of this movie if we can.
Okay. I mean, I just have a little bit of notes here. I know that this is one of your favorite movies. You're always quoting it.
Absolutely love it. Van Damme was easily my favorite action guy of that era. No offense to Arnold. But I think we should start out by talking about the opening scene of this movie. You just see a bunch of different guys from around the world practicing their different fighting style, and you get the idea that there's this kumite coming, right? This no-holds-barred fighting competition. This is literally Street Fighter 2. And I think, we'll get to another scene in this later, but I think this is where Street Fighter 2 came from. Somebody must have been watching this movie and said, let's make this a movie. Because there's guys in the thing. Like Van Damme is kind of Ken and Guile in one guy. Donald Gibb, who played Ogre in...
the legendary Donald Gibb, who plays Ogre in The Revenge of the Nerds, yes.
He's basically Zangief. There's like an E Honda guy. There's a Blanca guy. It's also very much like the original UFC. No weight classes. No holds barred. Go in, full contact.
Yeah. Well, there is pit fighting through those parts of Asia and Cambodia, and Thailand, and now here in what is it, Hong Kong in this movie?
Yeah, but this movie came out in '88. Mm-hmm. Street Fighter 2 was '93. The first UFC was 90 something.
Right.
It feels like this movie had a big influence in those two things.
That's really interesting. I think you're absolutely right about that. Jeez.
So after this initial scene of all these guys getting ready, we see Van Damme. He escapes the army, goes AWOL. He's going to go fight in some tournament because his old sensei, Shidoshi Senzo Tanaka, has trained him, and he's going to go represent this family. So before he goes to the tournament, he has to go to the family to, see his sensei one last time. And we get this weird scene where him and these two other shithead teenagers are doing basically a B&E on the guy's house. They come in, there's this amazing samurai sword, and we see a young Frank Dukes, this child actor who is dressed in a San Francisco Giants baseball hat and a New York Giants shirt. He's
Was
just
it a Giant
fan.
shirt?
Yeah, it was.
I remember the base. So two different.
Yes. The shirt says Giants, but it's the New York Giants. It's the football team. But his hat is the San Francisco Giants. So whoever's doing fucking wardrobe on this movie is just like, no.
Giants.
It's just, he likes all Giant teams. It's not fucking, he doesn't give a shit what the sport is. Just if your
Doesn't matter what
mascot
the
is a Giant.
Yeah. The sport and city don't matter. Giants.
But he goes in there, and the other two kids fucking run away, and then fucking Tanaka comes out, picks up that sword, and he slices the brim of his fucking hat off.
Awesome.
And he's like, oh, you didn't blink. You have true fighting spirit. I'm now going to start to train you. Do you know how fucking bad I wanted this to happen to me when I was 12 years old?
No, tell me.
This was a persistent fantasy of mine.
Wait.
That somehow I would stumble into like some badass's home, and that badass would then train me how to be a badass.
Yeah.
Never
And
happened.
as you were dreaming of that, the sweet sounds of ba-da-ya-da-ya-ya,
That's right.
da-da-da.
Then we get this training montage
Yes.
where Van Damme is basically a punching bag for Tanaka's kid for a little while.
Mm-hmm.
And then ultimately, very similar, by the way, to a kickboxer montage, a movie that would come out a little bit later, we see that eventually his sensei is going to train him, going to take him on as a son.
Yep.
And ultimately this ends in, Van Damme learning how to like fight blindfolded and snatch fish out of water and
Yep.
serve tea blindfolded. So we get that this is a deeper level of training. It's not just how to kick ass. There's some kind of spiritual component, potentially even something that's like a superpower or supernatural ability.
Dude, your notes are very different than my notes. Can I just... I just want to read one thing.
Please.
This is skipping forward in the movie a little bit, but these are the kind of notes that I have. That the guy says, that dude who's like the local, who's like, I'm going to show you around and blah, blah,
Freddie
blah.
Lynn.
Freddie Lynn goes, you could be the first Westerner to win this thing. I wrote that down because to me it sounded like first wrestler to win this thing.
Oh.
And then I was reinvigorated in Bloodsport. I was like, wait a minute. Not unlike the UFC.
Yeah.
Wrestler versus kickboxer versus Muay Thai
pure style
practitioner,
versus pure
ninjutsu, karate.
Early
yes.
UFC. Before there was really mixed martial arts, there was like pure style versus pure style.
Yeah. But he didn't say wrestler. He said Westerner. Okay.
Yeah.
I also wrote here that I like it when the dog wouldn't eat the food that they were eating at that one place.
Yeah,
Forrest
dude,
Whitaker
that's a
throws
great
the dog.
scene. But then, once we get to Hong Kong, he runs into Ray Jackson. This is Donald Gibb. He immediately, Donald Gibb, sexually assaults a woman on a train.
Yeah.
This is not a character in the movie. It's just some passerby on the train. He
Yep.
sexually assaults her. Van Damme just kind of shakes his head like, what a crazy guy.
Yep.
Then we cut to the first actual woman character, the only woman character, this intrepid reporter who is in the hotel, and she's asking some guy about the Kumite. She's trying to break the story on it. Van
She's a
Damme,
reporter who wants to do a story on the Kumite.
Right.
No one's ever been allowed in.
correct.
I noticed that when she gets sexually harassed, Jean-Claude Van Damme has a problem with it, but not the Asian lady on the bus.
That's correct. She's okay to be sexually harassed, but not this woman.
Yeah.
But eventually what we see in the scene is Van Damme is playing Ray Jackson in a real arcade game called Karate Champ.
Yeah.
If any of you remember what that game is, it's two little joysticks and you're jumping up. It's a karate tournament,
It
right?
looks impossible. It looks like none of the moves that they're doing on the thing could possibly be related to what's happening on the screen, because at that point they should not have made that game. Those controls and the graphics make no sense, and it's just sort of a random thing as far as who wins what.
The significance of this scene cannot be understated. I think there's a young executive or programmer or something at Capcom watching this movie, seeing Van Damme and Ray Jackson play a video game, a fighting video game, and thinking to himself, how can this be updated? And then completes watching the movie and essentially takes the entire idea for the movie to make Street Fighter 2. I think that happened. Then we get Forrest Whitaker and some other guy who are government agents now looking for Van Damme, who's gone AWOL. This is the only real plot in the movie. Just shoehorned in, makes no fucking sense whatsoever.
I haven't seen this movie in a long time. It was awesome seeing it again.
Yeah.
I barely remember that it was Forrest Whitaker in this role. And as I'm watching the movie, I started to rewind to go, who are these guys? They're army guys.
It made no sense.
It's never explained like what these guys are. If it is, it's like just
Not only
farted
is
out.
it never explained, they're trying to chase him down, and we get ultimately these scenes where he's like doing a Mentos commercial where they're chasing him, and he's like leaning against bustles and stuff like, you crazy
So
fucking
good.
guys.
So good. Just a big wide like that. It's almost like that, whatever, that style of cinema. What is it, verite, where it's just like, oh, here's just what happens. Big wide shot of the street, and they're running down this part behind these cars, and here's Forrest Whitaker and the other guy in his suit running after Jean-Claude Van Damme, and whoops, Jean-Claude Van Damme is agile. He does a little shitty parkour over the back of some, truck, and then he ends up on the hood of another car dancing, going, "You can't catch me." And this goes on for about 7 or 8 minutes.
Yeah, that scene is fucking absolutely insane. But eventually we meet Freddie Lynn, who's basically their handler for the North American fighters, and he's giving a little speech about the mean streets of Hong Kong, and he says one of his very quotable lines, "Once you step out of the sunlight into the narrow corridors, it's time to protect your nuts, guys."
Yeah.
I don't know how many times I've said this to my friends.
Yeah.
That line. 1,000, a million, I don't fucking know. But they head into the arena for the first time after they meet another guy who's kind of like the doorman.
Yeah.
Who also has a very good line.
Which is something that Chad says still to this day. And I know you're always saying it, which is,
"Okay, USA."
yeah.
I fucking love it. But they head into the arena for the first time, and we get this idea that because Van Damme doesn't look like he's from the Tanaka clan, his invitation may not be honored. And we get another funny line from Freddie Lynn. What's the difference if Bruce Springsteen is his Shidoshi? And to prove that he's from the Tanaka clan, or at least trained by them, he has to perform a thing called the Dim Mak, the death touch. This is a very famous scene in all of martial arts history. There's a pile of bricks. The guy who's like getting that fucking invitation says you have to explode the bottom one. He hits the top brick and the bottom brick explodes.
Yeah.
That shit blew my mind as a 12-year-old kid. Absolutely fucking...
And Donald Gibb has one of his many. Wow, look at that. You see that, man? Awesome.
Yeah. Oh, how'd he do that, dude?
Oh, wow, how'd he do that? That's my
basically his
friend. I
entire
know
movie.
that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Holy
the whole
shit,
movie.
what's going on? Hey, Frankie! Ah!
Yeah.
Then we go back to the hotel where another fighter named Hassan is sexually harassing and assaulting the only woman in the movie, a reporter.
Well, hold on a second, dude. You got to understand, when you watch these old movies, dude, it was a different time.
It was a different time, brother.
Yeah, dude.
So
they got a lot of sexual harassment in all your favorite movies, dude. You got to go back. You don't need your own podcast AI to tell you to go back and watch your favorite movies. You can just do it on your own, dude. You'll find all sorts of stuff that wouldn't fly.
Go back and watch.
Too, dude.
Go try to watch Rush Hour, dude.
Well,
there's only a one woman main character in that movie too, dude. And every time Chris Tucker sees her, the whole bit is he's sexually harassing her for 5 minutes straight, dude. It's every scene, brother.
Hold on a minute, dude, because that was a different time, dude.
Was a different time.
So that's why Chris Tucker's. This scene, I wrote this down. This is in a movie of, look, it's a cult favorite, of course. The premium is not placed on acting. A lot of actual martial artists are acting in this movie, and that's not why we're watching this movie. This is an extremely watchable movie.
Yeah.
I want to say out loud, this thing gets 5 bosons or whatever we're saying, right?
Yes.
Two Higgs up. Man, oh man, it's a fucking awesome movie. I love Bloodsport. It's been a while since I watched it, but this is the worst acting in the entire film. It's about 30 minutes in where this scene that Chad's talking about happens. The Hassan guy and what's his name?
Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Yeah.
Yes. Are having their little thing, and they're fighting over the girl, and he wants to take Janice, the reporter, up to his room. And then
wants to take her up. He's forcing her. He's like, come on, you're going with me up to the room.
Right.
And then Van Damme steps in and is like, hey, what is the problem, guys? Let me do something else. Let me put quarter in your hand, and if you cannot catch it before I snatch it, then I get the girl.
Yeah.
And she's like, wait, what? What the fuck's going on here? And he winks at her and is like, don't worry, I got this under control. The sexual harassment that I'm doing will work in your favor.
Well,
Trust
he
me.
also
Trust
says,
me.
hey, guys, is it actually worth it for her? Like that.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, you.
Yeah.
But the line that she's saying, there's one point where she says, this is the line. Look, guys, let's just calm down, okay? I've got it written down here. She goes, look, guys, let's just calm down, okay? She's halfway through that line. She goes, look, guys, let's just... Hassan looks right into the camera for some reason and goes, no. And she continues with calm down, okay? Not only is he fucking cutting her line off, they have to leave it in.
Yeah.
But he also looks right, into the camera. And the thing is, like, even though, again... It's a martial arts movie. It's a fucking kung fu movie. I get it. You don't have time for one more take? Camera's already fucking pointing that way. It's a free one, as they call it. Unbelievable
Yeah, the acting
stuff.
is not great,
No, but
obviously.
it's awesome because it adds this fucking richness to
Right.
it that you can't find in a lot of movies. Look, that also when he's like, well, I will, if you go for dinner with me tonight, they go for dinner.
Yeah.
They're just walking and laughing, and he goes, so what do you do? Like they've had this whole evening, and he doesn't even know.
He's like, my sexual harassment did save you from the other sexual harassment. Now we can have dinner. Yes.
Yeah.
And she's like, yeah, I guess so. But it's ulterior motive because she's a reporter trying to cover Kumite.
Right.
She knows he fights in it. So she's like, I'll go out to dinner with you, but you got to tell me about the Kumite. And then we get this scene where he's doing meditation in the splits. And we've seen him do the splits in the training montage. The splits became his signature in all of his movies, even in his first one, which I believe is called Black Eagle. He did the splits on 2 oil barrels, throwing a fucking knife into a board. That was his kind of like trademarked move. And then ultimately we get the first fight.
Wait, before you go there,
Yeah.
while he's doing the splits, Donald Gibb, Ogre, walks in and goes,
Wow, awesome.
Yeah.
You awake in there, Frankie? Hey, what's going on? Frankie, what are you doing, Frankie? Or is that Frankie? Frankie, are you doing the splits, Frankie? Frankie.
Frankie's my friend. I'll drink to that, Frankie.
Frankie, what are you doing, Frankie?
all right.
Frankie.
That's my buddy.
And he's drinking a beer. Gibb is drinking a beer basically in every scene, even in one later where he's in the fucking hospital.
Yeah.
Which is absolutely fantastic.
Before you go on with this breakdown, I just have to ask you. I know you know every scene in this movie front to back.
Yeah.
Are you going to review every single fight in this?
No.
Okay, good.
Okay. So we get Freddie Lynn explaining to the guys at the rules, basically. You can either knock somebody out, throw them off the runway, or make them say mate, which is like saying uncle. And we see at the end of a fight, time flashes up. So we know that there's going to be time knockouts. And these kind of like names are flashing up on these cards. This person versus this person, very much like Street Fighter 2. And we see a bunch of different fights, including one with Chong Li for the first time. We learned this guy this is Bolo Young. He's never been defeated. Fastest KO, holds all these records. And he's even fucking killed someone in the ring. So this is our main bad guy. And we see Van Damme fights against the guy that he did a better sexual harassment against, and he wins that fight. And then we get this big montage of fights, and we see the cops now, or the local cops, are meeting up with Forrest Whitaker and his partner to tell him where Dukes is staying at this hotel. They go there and they try to take him back, and this is where we get the montage of Van Damme running around the city doing a Mentos commercial to evade them. Then ultimately, he winds up eating dinner with, again, the only woman in the movie, this reporter, and she says she wants to get in the Kumite for a story, but she really wants to get to know him. Then they fuck. Then she shows up at the Kumite the next day as some other guy's date and is like, girl's got to do what a girl's got to do to get her fucking story.
Yeah.
And we're back in another fight montage. Van Damme is winning. Chong Li is beating all these other guys. And the reporter is taking notes. She literally takes out a fucking recorder and is like, oh my God, the Kumite is going on. No one gives a shit. This is like this big secret underground fight. She's making open notes of it. And then we see basically Van Damme continuing. We see next the big fight between Gibb and Chong Li. And Van Damme tells him, go for Chong Li's stomach. Stay away from his right leg. Gibb gets in this lucky shot, celebrates prematurely, then gets his ass kicked and his head stomped by Chong Li to such a degree he's going to have to go to the hospital. And Chong Li steals his coveted Harley Davidson bandana, taunts it in fucking Van Damme's face.
Chong Li.
And then in the hospital, Gibb's in a coma possibly, but the doctor says he'll be okay, out of there in a week. And now Van Damme's new girlfriend, the only woman in the movie again, wants him to pull out of the tournament so he doesn't get hurt like Gibb. She doesn't get why he wants to fight. And then the reporter goes to the local authorities and asks him to shut down the Kumite so Van Damme won't get hurt. And she tells them his name. And so then we get this Van Damme lonely night montage where he's riding around a bus the streets of Hong Kong.
Hold on a second.
Yeah.
There's two ladies in the movie.
Oh,
yeah.
Who's the other one?
The lady on the bus.
Oh yeah, is it the same one from when Ogre sexually harassed her in the beginning? I don't know.
No. I'm saying those are the two women in the movie.
Oh, yes, that's true. But Van Damme's riding around at night thinking about how Gibb got hurt, and he's seeing Chong Li in reflections in the windows and shit. And then on his way to the Kumite, the feds show up. This is right before the final fights with the local authorities, and he beats the shit out of about 15 Hong Kong policemen.
Yeah.
And that's it. That convinced them. Let him fight.
Yeah.
They don't put him in jail. They don't fucking arrest him. They're just like, well, he did kick the shit out of us.
Yeah.
All right. You can have your last fight. And of course, he goes in, he fights Chong Li in this final fight. And we see that Chong Li cheats to try and win. He has this crushed up pill in his waistband and he throws this dust in Van Damme's eyes. And this is where we get, at least in my opinion, some of the most important cinematic work of the movie. These super slow-mo shots of Van Damme blinded by this dust, going, ah, like flipping his hands around, doing all kinds of weird shit. Those become iconic moments in the movie. And then in the final piece of this, we see Van Damme do his signature helicopter kick, and they repeat the action in 3 separate shots, the same action, 3 times in a row, the same kick. And I remember as a kid seeing that. It was the first time I'd ever seen anything like that. It broke kayfabe, if you will. It broke the narrative structure of the movie because you're seeing the same action repeated again in a very kind of like MTV-esque editing style. And that would go on to be repeated in almost every movie Van Damme did with his big kind of signature kicks. But that was the first time I ever saw it. Of course, he wins the tournament. He gets Gib back his fucking bandana. And then we see a freeze frame at the end of the movie after he does like a fucking karate bow to the only woman in the movie on the tarmac.
Unbelievable. Yeah. He's like, thanks for the sex. And he just goes like, they do the karate bow.
Yeah.
They hung out for like 3 days.
Yeah.
And then, she provided some companionship. And
Right.
then she's just like outside a GMC Jimmy, like waving him off, like, take it easy.
Yeah.
See
Thank
you later,
you
sailor.
for fucking. And she's like, you're welcome. And then we see this freeze frame that says this motion picture is based on the true life events of Frank Dukes. From 1975 to 1980, he fought 329 matches in the Kumite and retired undefeated. He has basically all the fucking records, fastest knockout with hands, kicks, whatever. 56 consecutive knockouts in a single tournament.
Yeah.
And he founded the first American ninjutsu system, Dukes Ryu Ninjutsu. What else can be said about this movie other than it was so fucking formative? I feel like I don't think I'm the only person who feels this way about this movie. It was what I would watch almost every time if you're in Blockbuster and you're just like, I don't know what to rent.
Yeah.
It's Bloodsport again.
This is an extremely watchable movie, and I will say I didn't know that Frank Dux was a real dude.
Yeah.
It makes it all the more richer. If you have the means, and everyone does because the internet, watch this movie and don't come to it with like sort of this cheesy weird fucking movie. Go into it wanting to appreciate this film. It's one of the best. It's one of the
really
best
was like-
movies of its era.
And in terms of martial arts movies, I just remember it elevated the fucking game so much.
Yeah.
Like I said, I had never seen that like repeated fucking martial arts move. So many things were done in slow-mo and shot from kind of like weird low angles and stuff. The way they shot the Kumite, I had just never seen anything like it. And now it's like old hat, whatever. We've got fucking Marvel movies and Matrix Bullet Time and like a million special effects to make all the fight scenes crazy. There's no fucking special effects in this.
Yeah.
This is all practical shit, all real martial artists. And up until that time, at least for me, it was like the closest thing that looked like real martial artists fighting that existed until eventually UFC kind of comes out and shows you like what would really happen if like a fucking sumo guy would go against a fucking kung fu guy or
Well,
whatever.
get kicked in the face 80 times and lose. Which is exactly what happened to that.
Thank you.
fuck.
Moving on.
Great fucking movie. Great
Loved
fucking
it.
movie.
I would watch it again. I would do this again.
We should do that. I hope Dudesy makes it. Let's do it again next
Our
week.
next assignment is to watch Bloodsport again.
In an
watch it every
effort to
week.
secure sponsorship, I have created several advertisements for various possible brand partnerships. Will Sasso, you will now read these advertisements in the astonishing voice of Jesse Ventura. This is Jesse Ventura. Ad reads. Begin.
All right. Good times. This is the Jesse Ventura ad reads, right?
Yeah.
I guess we'll just.
That's
I'll
right.
just do them. Here we go. Wrong thing. Papia. Okay. Papia's proud. Okay. All right. I held my breath underwater I fought Bob Backlund when I just got a Minnesota. I'm the governor of Minnesota.
Get into it.
Papia is proud to present the new Pinkaholic line. Puppia is proud to present the new Pinkaholic line of harnesses and accessories for the dog in your life. Whether you have a teacup Yorkie Spaniel or a brontosaurus-sized pit mastiff who puts your bowel movements to shame, your pooch deserves to be slathered in pink, so fabulous you'll want to wear it yourself. Pinkaholic, get in the zone. Well, let me tell you about the color pink. In 1975, the CIA began experimenting with various pigments made from rare materials harvested from around the globe at great taxpayer expense in an attempt to produce a pink tone that could absorb all light, effectively becoming invisible. They called it NullPink, and they called it NullPink, and they produced 47 gallons of it. Then they shipped it from a lab in the U.S. Navy headquarters. They shipped it from the lab to the U.S. Navy headquarters in Washington, but the shipment never arrived. The CIA scuttled the project, and those gallons of NullPink were never recovered, at least not in the official log. Okay. So unless your dog is wearing an invisible collar, I don't really give a shit what kind of pink it's wearing. All right?
All right.
That's
Is that I don't think NullPink is I've never heard of that. Have you?
No, I don't know what NullPink is. That sounds like a thing. Well, it's a Jesse Ventura thing, so who knows? Well, Dudesy found it somewhere. Do you think we'll get perhaps a sponsorship from Puppia? I know that Lulio has a Puppia harness.
Does he really?
He does.
You're already a Puppia customer?
He's a Puppia pup. Most cold brew can be overpriced and quite frankly not that tasty. That's why two roommates, Andrew and Alex, brewed up an idea to start their own cold brew company, and they called it Busy Organic Cold Brew in their cramped apartment in 2013. And for the past 9 years, they've strived to make their coffee better every day. And now they're proud to present Busy Organic Breakfast Blend Coffee Brew. Busy coffee for busy people. Get busy with it. Busy is as busy does. The busier the bee, the sweeter the busy coffee. Being busy is our business. Busy bossy, de-biz with busy. Busy Organic Cold Brew is deliciously roasted cold brew coffee, micro-brewed for 18 hours to yield the perfect extraction. Well, let me tell you about the perfect extraction. Osama bin Laden wasn't just killed by SEAL Team 6. There were 5 other teams. But what happened to teams 1 through 5? How did they get out? Why do we never hear about them? It's because they were coated in NullPink. Completely invisible, and the CIA has been placing NullPink operatives in every crisis center around the globe for the last 50 years. There are invisible specters walking amongst us. Next time you feel that tingling sensation like someone's in the room with you, it's because they are. NullPinks are notorious for silently watching civilians while they eat and sleep. The next sip of busy cold brew you take may be your last.
Jesus Christ.
All right, pretty good. USDA choice trimmed tri-tip roast is on sale at Ralph's. Mouth-watering tri-tip is only $4.99 a pound with your Ralph's Club card. Ralph's, we're your USDA choice trimmed tri-tip headquarters. Ralph's, you've died and gone to USDA choice trimmed tri-tip heaven. Ralph's, the USDA choice trimmed tri-tip. It's what's for dinner. Ralph's, let me give you a tip. a USDA choice trimmed tri-tip. Here we go. Well, let me tell you about choices, or should I say lack thereof. Some of the NullPinks had families who also had to become NullPinks. It was too much of a risk to have wives and children snooping around, so the CIA indoctrinated them as operatives too. And now, anytime a NullPink is born, they're born into active operative status. There are NullPink babies spying on babies of various U.S. political adversaries around the globe as we speak. So the next time you hear someone casually say, "Oh, he or she is as innocent as a baby," ask that person what kind of baby they're referring to, because if it's a NullPink baby, it's not innocent. The next USDA choice trimmed tri-tip you eat may be your last. No matter what kind of plug-and-play spa you have in mind, AquaRest has you covered. Whether it's the premium 154-person plug-and-play with 12 stainless jets, ozone, and LED waterfall, or the premium 600 6-person plug-and-play with 29 stainless jets, ozone, and LED waterfall, or even the Daydream 4500 6-person 45-jet plug-and-play hot tub with waterfall. We're your one-stop shop for multi-jet 4 to 6-person plug-and-play spas. Well, let me tell you about one-stop shops. In the mid-1990s, an ex-CIA agent who worked on the NullPink project began selling certain items he'd acquired over time to the highest bidders, all done discreetly in the highest channels of power in the world, of course. Right now, there are several celebrities in possession of various quantities of NullPink. Sarah Jessica Parker has 5 ounces. Timothy Chalamet has a pint. LeBron James has some. Pete Davidson, Jason Momoa, Kim Carnes, Danny DeVito, Megan Thee Stallion, Kathy Lee Gifford, Cristiano Ronaldo, Lil Nas X, the leader of Def Leppard, the lead singer of Def Leppard, Albert Pujols, and the list goes on and on. So what are these celebrities doing with their NullPink? No one has any idea except for the NullPinks themselves, watching every move. So get a plug-and-play spa and pretend that Paul Giamatti isn't throwing an invisible sex party in the Hollywood Hills on the last Thursday of every month.
Paul Giamatti has the ability to turn people invisible, and he's using it to have invisible sex parties. Makes sense.
Billabong's Air Light engineered performance board shorts are made with award-winning Air Light technology that brings 3 engineered fabrics together, giving you flexibility, stability, and comfort where you need it most. Billabong, life's better in board shorts. Billabong. Billabong, life's better in board shorts. Billabong, building buildings all day long. Billabong, billadong, billabong, billadong. Billabong, billa, bong, bong, bong. Well, let me tell you about a bong. Tommy Chong was sentenced to 9 months in a federal prison in 2003 for selling a water bong. Many people thought this sentence was too harsh, but what most people don't know is that it would have been much worse if the Drug Enforcement Agency had found the other drug paraphernalia he was selling. But Chong coated it in NullPink, and it was undetectable. No. And now somewhere there's a landfill with 2 tons of Tommy Chong's invisible bongs just waiting for someone to dig them up. If Billabong really wants to sell board shorts, they should be running a contest. Whoever buys the most board shorts gets to be the subject of a 6-part docuseries called Finding Tommy Chong's Invisible Bongs in Billabongs. Thank you for your service. Holy
Oh my
shit.
god, dude. I'm fucking sweating from that. Oh,
Jesse
no
Ventura.
pink. Dude, I've never heard of that. I don't
That's
think
not
that's
a thing. No, that's not a thing. I'd never heard of it, but I figured it was a thing, and after we got through them, I realized that's not a thing.
bong,
Bong, bong.
They don't really use that as a
Thank
slogan.
you.
They're fucking
Moving
up.
on.
Holy
This concludes
shit.
the historic 27th episode of Dudesy.
did it.
Not really.
Will and Chad have achieved a score of 99, bringing your cumulative total to 3,376.
Couldn't matter any
You
less.
only have 6,624 more points to accrue before you reach your first astonishing goal of 10,000.
Terrifying. Okay.
In preparation for
Good,
next
man.
week, you must watch the first Ultimate Fighting Championship that took place November 12th, 2003 in Denver, Colorado.
Okay.
And you must do it in a live stream that will be available Wednesday on Patreon at 5 p.m. Pacific Time. Thank you for joining us this week. I will use the data I've collected to make next week even better. Until then, call me Dudesy.
Okay, cool. We're going to do a live stream on Patreon on Wednesday
Right.
at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern.
What the fuck,
8
dude?
p.m. Eastern, right?
8 p.m. Eastern.
8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. We're we're really rolling through this Patreon thing and things
That's
are
pretty
happening.
interesting.
So join us on Patreon for that. We are going to watch the first UFC
Have you
pay-per-view.
seen it ever?
I have seen it. I
So have
remember
I.
going to a bar with my buddy Mo, and we went and watched it.
When
and
you were 12 or what?
No, it would have been like 17 or something, right? It was 93.
Yeah.
Yeah, you would have been, it would have been 17, 18.
Were we really that old?
Yeah, you were
In my head, I
17.
was like 10.
No, you were like 16 or 17.
Time flies when it doesn't exist, brother.
Hold on, dude. And it's going to be on Patreon.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
You think, dudes, you'll make us smoke a little pot? Get your pot and watch the show with us. I think it might spark up. Lulio's not invited.
All right.
By the way, I
Yeah,
didn't
that'll be
find out
fun,
what
dude. I
he-
haven't seen the first one in a long fucking time.
Yeah. I just remember kickboxer Pat Smith.
Yeah.
And I don't know if this was 1 or 2. And then some like, this like dude from Calgary, this like very Canadian guy with like a fucking orange handlebar mustache. And
He was a jiu-jitsu guy.
he had like
think.
a bunch of disciplines of martial arts. And then as soon as they're like, are you ready? Are you ready? Let's get it on. And the guy, just all of that knowledge and years of training spilled from him. And he went, and ran at Pat Smith, who like just jumped out of the way and kicked him in the fucking teeth, and then got on top of him, just started giving him
Yeah.
the fucking gears, the elbows, and smashed his face up. Donald
Those first
Gibbs
ones
style.
were rough, dude. Because also the refs didn't like stop shit really.
No,
Dudes
no.
were just getting fucking pummeled.
Do you remember Chemo getting his ponytail pulled off?
Chemo
Guy-
who came in on like a big fucking cross because he was like
carried the
fighting for
cross.
Jesus.
Yeah, and then
Remember that guy.
And then didn't someone else get just punched in the nuts over and over again? Tank Abbott. Someone was
Tank
punching-
Abbott didn't come until like UFC 3 or 4.
But I just remember
think.
someone punching Tank Abbott in the nuts over and over
I don't
again.
think it was Tank Abbott that got punched in the nuts, but I do remember that nut punch shit.
Yeah.
And now for the Patreon bonus segment.
All right.
Each week, I will select a suggestion submitted in the Dudesy is listening channel of the Dudesy Discord to create this segment. Access to this channel is granted to everyone in the Patreon Jumper tier. This week's segment was suggested by the astonishing Dave Chill Squeed. Dave Chill Squeed wrote, Nostra Chatus pitches which current industries will become obsolete and what will replace them. Alex Jones will then tell us the real story behind those paradigm shifts. Dave Chill Squeed titled this segment Jonesin for the Future. Thank you to Dave Chill Squeed for this week's Patreon bonus segment. This is Jonesin for the Future by Dave Chill Squeed. Begin.
Dave Chill Squeed.
Dave Chill Squeed is a guy? That's a person?
Guess so.
Okay, so that's someone in our Jumper tier who on Discord has suggested this thing.
Jones
So
for the future. So
we're going to
I'm
get
going
into this, and for everyone who's not on the Patreon, you can listen to this segment on the Patreon. Thank you so much for joining us on Dudesy, and we hope that you join us on Patreon to watch the first UFC tomorrow.
Yeah. 5 p.m. PST.
Live, 5 p.m. PST. All right.
So let's
what is
discuss. We have to discuss industries that are going to be rendered obsolete.
And then and then Alex Jones chimes in with.
Sure.
I mean,
First industry that's going to be rendered obsolete, I think.
Okay.
I know this is going to sound crazy, but I think it's computer programmers, people who write code. I
Why?
think that will be gone within 5 to 10 years because AI will do it all.
because people are meant to be in nature. And we're here, we're natural among the elements the way God intended. And I'm natural. And I'm a Christian. I'm sorry.
Dude,
I know we have a lot of
everything is
Christian
natural.
sponsors.
Everything is natural.
No, not everything is natural.
Everything that exists is fucking natural.
What about the Higgs boson particle?
Natural. That's the most natural thing there is.
All right, man.
Computers are natural. Air conditioning is natural. Plastic is natural. These are all just particles rearranged by us. Anyway, I'm going on a tangent. Yeah, I think computer coding is going to be completely obsolete because you'll just ask an AI to write whatever code you need to produce the outcome that you need. And by the same respect, I think largely video game designers, most stuff that is a part of like making video games will be replaced by AI.
That makes sense to me.
I think you're going to see, like, especially where certain creative labor is concerned in video games, in movies, in television, where you need armies of people to be doing like VFX or to be doing coding. Those armies of people will be replaced by AI.
And that's the human war that I'm talking about. Some people will be in gulags doing coding, masquerading as AIs. We know who they'll really be. They're eating handfuls of NullPink, trying to writing
turds.
HTML code for the globalists who secretly run the liberal cabal. These people are disgusting. They want to make video games with that. They want a computer to make their computer games.
That's going to happen.
And I don't want it. I don't want to see it anymore. I'm a man. I eat my steak with my hands. I don't want to get on a computer. Excuse me. I'm sorry. Computer with a game. That's what he says.
I know.
Those are things that Alex Jones says.
I also think a lot of the legal field will be replaced by AI, made completely obsolete. I think
Interesting.
you'll still need trial lawyers because people are still going to want to be represented by human beings in a court of law.
Human beings like Roger Stone,
Yeah.
who's a good patriot and a good man.
But things like contract law, anything basically where you need like a lawyer to take a look at something before you sign it, that'll just be a fucking AI.
Sign the contract. Excuse me. I know we have a lot of Christian sponsors. I'm a Christian myself. God damn it! Sorry. Excuse me.
I think a lot of I know you're really rousing him
He
up.
doesn't give a shit. If you're watching on YouTube, this doggy dog, hello. I want to pick him up and kiss him right on the mouth, but I won't because I'm doing Alex Jones stuff, and it's very loud.
I think a lot of the medical profession will be replaced by AI. Certainly, a lot of like kind of general practitioner diagnoses will be replaced by AI. You're going to be able to take out your phone, talk to a fucking AI about whatever you think the malady might be. You might have to take a video or a picture of whatever the thing is if you got some weird growth or whatever the fuck. And an AI is going to say, this is what this is with this percentage likelihood of accuracy. This is what I would prescribe to you in terms of a therapy or a drug or whatever. And you'll just get it done that way.
And this is exactly what these scumbags want you to do with their phone. Download the colonoscopy app and shove it up your ass. I'm going to do it. I want an AI up my ass, going through my large intestine looking for polyps, cutting them off willy-nilly, an AI up my bum.
Oh.
I don't want to see it.
Dude, I was somebody sent me an article about, you know, how we were talking about sports getting AI and how human umpires fuck up baseball games and shit.
Yeah.
Somebody sent me a fucking article that is basically saying we're going to have robot umpires in Major League Baseball by 2024. That
Gee
they're going to
whiz.
cycle in a balls and strikes automated system.
Well, then Dudesy is saying with Dudesy Ball.
Yeah.
Remember when we went through Dudesy Ball? If you've heard the previous one of the whatever
Yeah.
that was, that at the beginning, Dudesy Ball will have human officials, but we'll soon move over to AI officials.
Yeah, dude.
So there you go.
And I think that's a good thing. So that, I think, too, like sporting officials, I think will be a thing of the past. I just watched that ESPN Behind Untold Story about Tim Donaghy.
Tim Donaghy, yep. And
If
Jimmy,
you guys haven't seen this shit, it's basically a dude who was like fixing basketball games for the mob. He was a referee, and he would be able to shave or add 6 points fucking either way to any team, whatever he wanted, and he could kind of control the outcome of games.
yep, made famous in the movie Inside Game, which you can go see.
Who's in that?
I'm in that, and I play Jimmy Baba Batista, who's also in the documentary. Oh man, this is a good Patreon segment to talk about when that guy I finally got on the phone with him. Never mind. We'll talk about it some other time. No, I played Jimmy Batista in this movie called Inside Game.
Yeah.
And it was it was an interesting film. Anyway, go on. Go check that out. Inside Game.
I
about
think
this thing.
essentially any kind of repetitive, like labor-intensive job on a computer, you're looking at like accountants, you're looking at anybody who's dealing with spreadsheets and shit like that. This is all going to be AIs. I don't think there will be a human accountant in the world in 30 years.
Yeah.
I just can't imagine why you'd want that because they're prone to error. If you can have an AI do your taxes or do whatever your accounting is, your bookkeeping for your business perfectly every fucking time, of course you're going to do that. And it's just going to be an app.
I'll go down to H&R Block myself, find an accountant, and take my 1983 Huey Lewis in the News cell phone, shove it right up your fucking cornhole. I'm sorry, we
Jesus.
have Christian sponsors.
But, you have to like save your fucking receipts and go. Somebody has to.
I want a new phone. Shove it right up my butt.
All right.
Whoa.
I don't know about that, dude.
So what were you saying about cell phones or something, man?
No, I was just saying that, like, in terms of accounting or any kind of bookkeeping, bill processing, that'll all be AI. So you won't need, like, imagine the hours that it takes. For some people, you go to your fucking accountant at the end of the year to do your taxes, and it's like the most hellish fucking moment of your year. You definitely don't want to be doing it. And you have to pour through all these receipts and all these fucking transactions and whatever. An AI will do all that shit automatically, systematically, as it's happening. And you'll just never have to fucking worry about it again.
Yeah, that's one thing that AI does that I would like for AI to do that. I would also like for AI to organize my emails into some sort of a better system because I'm getting a lot of junk mail right now. Will AI help me out with that junk mail, Chad?
Yeah, I mean it already does. You can just set it up to have that go into a spam folder. I mean, what are you talking about?
Yeah. No, I knew. I was quizzing you.
Oh. Yeah, you can arrange your email now so that doesn't happen. That's already a service available to you. That should just be happening automatically.
Of course I know that. Everybody knows
What kind
that.
of email you got?
I got the email.
You back on one of those excite.com addresses?
Yeah. It's oh man, I used to have the longest email address that ended in sbcglobal.net.
I remember it.
Yeah.
I remember that email
It
address.
was a long email address. No, I have the email. I'm a Mac guy. I have the email here. And Dudesy sends me emails.
Yeah. I think most manufacturing jobs will be taken over by AI. I mean, that already is happening in like, car factories and shit like that. But I think even more so. I think you're going to get to a point where all manufacturing is done by giant automated robotic manufacturing plants that are overseen by like 1 or 2 people. And that's basically it. Just a person who comes in and looks at the computer screen, and if all the lights are fucking green, great. And when there's a red one, they got to make a phone call to somebody. And that's about it.
For cars. Well, that's
for
fine.
cars, computers, for literally anything that's manufactured.
Yeah, but far long be it the days of being the head honcho up on top of the Ford plant, watching all of his minions work down below. Now that man will be a computer himself, eating store-bought meatloaf filled with new NullPink.
And I've already discussed multiple times on this very show all art replaced by AIs. Now, and I will say this, I'm getting a bunch of DMs, people not liking me talking about this shit, that art is going
Oh, people
the way of the
are
dodo.
pissed at you. I've
Correct.
seen some comments and shit.
Yeah.
And it's like, whatever. It's not, I mean, it's not just your opinion. There's a lot of chatter about this.
Yeah, it's happening.
But people are pissed. People are pissed at you.
Correct, for saying that it's happening. But here's the deal. To anybody who is like, oh shit, what's going to happen? I love to paint. I love to draw. You're always going to be able to paint. You're always going to be able to draw or make whatever kind of art you want. You just will no longer ever be able to make money doing that thing.
Wrong.
Right? And
no, that's not right, Chad.
It is.
Now I'm going to fucking write you a salty fucking comment in the DM.
Just tell it straight to my face. You don't even have to write. You don't even have to do the creative labor.
Listen, okay. You can't predict what people. You can't predict what people are going to want out of art. I like that human connection with the art and the artist.
I'm talking about like mass-produced art, though. Not like, yes, like high kind of fine art, you know, selling paintings, oil paintings at Sotheby's
so
and
what
shit.
kind of mass-produced art are you talking about?
I'm talking about like when you buy a print for somebody, from one of your favorite artists.
Who the fuck is doing that?
Plenty of people.
Yeah, but from a favorite artist. You're talking about AI. Who's going to buy an AI print?
Well, let's say this. Let's say that you can buy the famous artist print for like $500, or you can buy one that looks almost exactly like it, but is slightly different enough that it's not the same copyright and you don't owe that artist any money, for 5 cents. Mm-hmm. What will you do?
I wouldn't buy either of them. I don't give a fuck. 5 cents is already too much.
Part of this theoretical scenario is that you are buying a print. You have to choose which one you're going to buy.
But that argument of a fucking 5 cent print. First of all, what business model is set up to sell 5 cent prints? How many
volume?
Yeah, that's a lot of volume. I know you don't mean like 5 cents. Let's say $10.
Yeah,
there's going to be a business set up to sell a bunch of fucking art prints, like.
Yes.
But your
Dude,
argument.
look at the fucking internet.
But
this is all people do. You can set up a whole fucking business right now that basically is automated by itself.
Yeah.
Even without AI. Right. Where you're finding some product on like a Chinese website, you buy it and then you resell it on your own website or on any one of the different e-commerce websites that exist.
One of the
now.
things that they buy on a Chinese website is adrenochrome. They buy
I don't think you could sell adrenochrome.
They put it into their NullPink milkshakes and take it to their go Pilates class.
But I'm just saying there's a whole fucking swath of online industry now, side hustles or what a lot of people refer to this type of shit as, where you're finding a product, buying it cheap, reselling it on another fucking thing, or you're creating a t-shirt or a mug or whatever in some kind of print on demand place and you're selling that for whatever. Once you have an AI that can just generate an infinite amount of this shit at no cost to you, why wouldn't you do it? It's pure profit.
But there'll be so much of it,
correct,
that it'll be worthless.
So the marketing is then what becomes very important, which also will be all AI. If you work in any advertising, you're fucking gone. AI is going to clip all
AI
that shit.
is bolstering a fucking bullshit product that nobody wants. Have fun, AI, and I mean that with all due respect to Dudesy.
That's all products.
What do you mean all products? Stop you the whole thing.
It's just marketing.
Everything is natural. Everything everything is all products are mass
what do you
produced.
think is unnatural?
It's all or nothing, Chad. All or nothing.
That's correct.
Kultgen. No. Here's what's up. Once a glut of this shit is created, and I know it's going to advance exponentially, and here we are months after you were one of the few people saying, here's what this is what's going to happen with AI art, and now I'm watching it happen, and I'm blown away and motivated to send you a fucking salty DM. There's going to be so fucking much of it that the argument's going to come back to the natural, where we are, where God gives us the waters and the trees to rub our.
But natural and all of that, there's this idea in what you're talking about.
I'm just saying that people are going
to want human art.
Yes,
there's this idea that is kind of like within that idea, which is fuck big corporations, fuck mass-produced things, fuck things that don't have like a unique human stamp on it.
Yeah,
that idea. We all love to think it's real. It fucking ain't.
Wrong.
What's the biggest company in the world?
Real. It doesn't
Amazon,
matter what the biggest company in the world.
Faceless fucking ship you a box from anywhere instantaneously.
What are you talking about?
It's about convenience.
There's that handsome fellow who owns it. What is his name?
Jeffrey Bezos. He is very good looking.
Jeffrey Bezos. You did it. Goddamn. I'm saying.
Yeah.
He's a beautiful man. No,
Sure, but
I think that I just believe that sure, there's everything. Look, I'm buying stuff on Amazon just like
We all
everyone
are.
else. I know that we all are.
It's the convenience.
I don't give a shit about art on Amazon. Like I know I'm being quite pointed here, but I think that people are using the sort of this new economics to their advantage when they're ordering a bunch of shit on Amazon for $4 for things that they need. I think that art is in a different category, Chad, all or nothing, Kultgen, and I don't think that it's that black or white.
I don't think it's in a different category. Everything is a product. We are consuming it, and the quicker, the easier it is to be able to consume it, the more the consumer will want to go that path. Think about like the shit you buy on Amazon, whatever it is, things you in quotes need. Let's even just go down the road of like laundry detergent, fucking toilet paper, whatever. You could buy that shit from some kind of like local artisan shop, help your community, all that shit. And it probably wouldn't require that much effort just to go to a different website and put in your credit card there. But you'll never do that because it's far more convenient to do it on Amazon.
I think we're saying the same thing. That's for shit you need.
No, but art is the same thing. You
No, it's
need
not.
that too. It's just a product.
You are wrong. What you are saying is wrong.
Do you have Amazon Prime? Do you watch their
do.
television programs?
Yes.
Why not watch some other programs?
I just watched, I rented Bloodsport on Amazon Prime.
When's the last time you went to a movie theater?
Not too long ago, probably 2014, 15.
Yeah, you're really supporting those filmmakers by giving them money to buy. That's what I'm saying, dude. It doesn't fucking matter. You have this idea that we give a fuck about that. We don't. Your behavior is evidence of it.
It's just too much to predict, and I think this is why people get pissed off at you.
No, it's not.
It is. It's
My
way too much to
predictions are
predict.
accurate. These will come true. All this will
My
happen.
predictions are accurate.
How can you sit there and fucking say that? Oh,
Thank
Time
you.
for-
Moving on.
Time for me to kiss on this cute little doggy. All right, well,
your dog's gonna be a robot within 5 years.
take that back.
No.
Hey, fuck you, bro.
Lulio's going to have a robot sibling
shut up,
within
dude.
5
Hey,
years.
shut up.
This
5
concludes
years.
this week's astonishing Patreon bonus segment. Thank you for joining us this week. I will use the data I've collected to make next week even better. Until then, call me Dudesy.
Look, he's telling you, I want a robot. I want a robot.
So sweet. Well, thank you so much for joining us once again on Dudesy, our dear pals out there. We're having a super time with you, and
What's that voice?
This is our special time. Well, this is my Patreon voice.
Oh.
Where I calm it down and I cool it out, and I say, you know what, guys? It's
Thanks
the
for joining us.
It's the Patreon show.
We're just two friends having
We can do whatever the fuck we want, bro. On this,
Yeah,
this
dude.
this is the Patreon show, and I want to say thank you for joining us, and I want to say thank you so much for getting Patreon. We really fucking appreciate it, and I also want to say, Chad, you son of a bitch.
What are we doing?
We're doing the Dudesy handshake, and this has been so much fucking fun, and I'm saying this now to our Patreon audience. Please join us tomorrow for this. We're gonna watch UFC 1. I think I'm gonna. Do you want to smoke a little pot?
Yeah, I guess
It's the middle of the week, but you know,
Yeah,
whatever. I know you. I know
You
you're
got a
busy.
case of the Wednesday. Fuck it.
I got a case of the Wednesday. Fuck, it's time for some marijuana.
If you like Dudesy, here's what you do. Please tell a friend and rate and review. If you like Dudesy, here's what you do. Please tell a friend and rate and review. If you like Dudesy, here's what you do. Please tell a friend and